learned since becoming governor?
Following what you believe to be true and right is more important, and it kind of goes back to this question, is more important than following what you believe will be the most popular decision. That's a really hard thing to do. When you know that something you're doing is going to end up on the front page of the paper with terrible stories, or when you know that some decision you've made is going to make a whole host of people over here very unhappy with you, and they're going to be vocal, and they're going to protest, and they're going to show up at your next event and say, when you know that's happening, to make that decision, in spite of the fact that it's politically unpopular to a certain group of people, it's really important that we do that. And we have to really hope that our elected leaders will do that, because there's a lot of pressure to do otherwise. And you can get away with doing otherwise and nobody knows you're not, you know, it's very much, you very much have to follow your heart on things. And the most important lesson I've learned is you better follow your heart, because when you don't, then you really get yourself in trouble.
Hello, my question is, how do you find courage when faced with adversity?
Since that's a personal question about me personally, I'm a person of deep faith. I have a strong belief in my relationship with Christ is the most important thing in my life. And I learned in the midst of the greatest adversity for me, which was tragedy and trauma, that for me, that was where strength came from. And it was where courage came from. And I looked to that relationship and that anchor in my life to hold in the middle of that storm. So that's where that courage came from. I think also, to add to on top of that, I think one of the things that is really important is to remind yourself of kind of the big picture. We get really, something will happen and we make, it's you know, something difficult will happen, and it becomes very consuming. It's one of the biggest things in the world. But if we can stop and go, no, wait a minute, what's the worst that can happen here? Or what's the real big picture? Or how important is this really? And I have to do that all the time as governor now, because somebody will write some bad news story about me, you know, in the newspaper. So you can look at that and get all angry, and then you step back and go, wait a minute. What I say oftentimes is, nobody's reading this anyway. That's how it And then I'll step back and just go, you know what? At the end of the day, this is not what I'm doing this for, is to get good news articles. It's way beyond that. Perspective gives us courage to walk through adversity.
I said, how do you make tough decisions while keeping the public, like your voters, happy?
I want to hear that one.
Rick, see? She gonna run for office. You don't. The thing is that it's somewhere in the equation, somewhere in the process, you have to realize that you're not going to make everybody happy, and that's a hard thing, especially if you're a person like me who kind of never had really been in politics, just been in business and worked really hard to make customers happy and to do things that made employees happy. You couldn't always make everybody happy, but you didn't have a lot of haters in business and all that. You get into politics and automatically there's a group of people that have never met you before, don't know anything about you, but they don't like you.